Praise be, bitches. I'm InsaneLayne, and today we look at the Hulu series The Handmaid's Tale, Episode 7, The Other Side. This episode, where to start? I have a lot of mixed feelings about it, and I'm going to try to include them all. First off, praise for the balls it takes to do this. We see only seconds of the series that we've been following so far, and even Luke's side of things is largely in the past. This episode is almost like watching a different show. And I wasn't sure how I felt about it at the time, but now that the season is over and I've seen all of it, well, I know where I stand, and we'll get to it. We start off all the way back in the beginning with the car being chased and quickly going off the road. What immediately becomes clear to me is that this is not an episode of TV. This is a short horror movie. It's also obvious that Luke and June are in two different movies. She is in a survival horror movie like 28 Days Later, while Luke is tragically in every teen slasher movie ever and suffering from a severe case of horror movie-itis.
Alright, you gotta take her, okay?
No.
It's about 2 miles north. You said someone's gonna meet us.
No, what about
Alright,
you?
go with mommy.
What about you?
No, it's alright. You go. Go, run!
Never, ever split up! When will fictional characters learn? Also, what exactly is he planning here? A one-man stand against superior forces? A revolver versus automatic machine guns? He promptly and rightly gets shot, and I'd have more sympathy if he hadn't pulled the good day to die routine. He flashes back to funner times before waking up in an ambulance, and before we as the audience can even get our bearings, the entire world gets sent spinning. Major points for a very, very cool shot, and for keeping it on Luke's POV. I don't think I've seen another show do that, but if I have, this show definitely did it right. It looks awesome, and it took some real effort to get that. Does not excuse the fact that by narrative law, Luke, who has been shot in the stomach and is bleeding profusely, is not only left conscious, he's the only one left alive. Surviving the crash gives Luke enough experience for his IQ stat to level up as he's smart enough to raid the ambulance for supplies. Don't misunderstand my mocking sarcasm, I like this scene. Outside of video games, I've never seen anybody be smart enough to actually do this. So, I like it. Doesn't excuse how stupid he was to get here.
Where are we right now? Where's Route 201?
Followed up by trying to question a clearly dead guy. Luke then stumbles up a cliff he in no way could have climbed, and back to the road, but he doesn't know how long he's been out, what direction he was going, or where he is now. However, the script takes mercy on him as he finds their car and heads in the direction he told June and Hannah to run, learning they've been caught. And here's where I realize how bored I am. I'm almost 12 minutes into the episode and really not that much has happened. We re-see the opening chase, we see them split up. Then we go with Luke, who crashes in the ambulance after getting shot, and now he's back at the car and finds they've been captured. And that sounds more like a previously on clip than nearly 12 minutes. I also point out, depending on how you cut the credits, this is the shortest or second shortest episode of the season. They really embrace the one-man show for a bit, as in a nice touch, Luke finds his way into the coffee shop. They really got their money out of that set. Then we go back to the past of them driving out of the city for the last time.
We're just out for breakfast. It's not illegal.
Not yet.
Already the black cars and guys with guns are everywhere, and again, June is the smart one, as she correctly says, we should have left earlier with Moira. They meet up with shady smuggler guy, and we get more proof that Luke would be dead in real life as he shows 2 more moments of being dumb, and June shows that she's smart and practical. It's almost like Luke just doesn't get it yet.
I'm taking him. So.
Yeah, a backpack, that's too suspicious. But carrying photo albums under your arm, great idea. So they hide in the trunk together as not at all shady guy drives them out of the county. They make it through a checkpoint and are taken to a literal cabin in the woods as I resist all the jokes. We're told that they're near the border, but it's so heavily patrolled they're going to have to lay low for a while. Also, Luke is shown how to use the revolver.
Thumb hits the release latch. Cylinder pops out. Don't want it to spin. Hit the ejector rod, dump your brass, 6 bullets in. Pull that hammer back. Fire.
He's told the visas that he waited so long for are completely useless, but don't worry, this guy will be back with Canadian passports to get them over the border. Then Luke awakes to being kicked by a terrified woman while another one holds a gun on him.
I'm not a guardian,
Stay back.
there's an ambulance crash a few miles up the road. The guardian died. I just took his jacket.
The one woman points out, hey, you're bleeding to death, and we have a vehicle, so you're coming with us. They are your standard survival horror cannon fodder group. You have the sassy, fearless leader who talks military and can staple a bullet wound shut. The wrong time, wrong place religious person, this time dialed all the way up to none. The kicking girl, shown fiddling with a red tag on her ear. Another random stray, and a gay guy. And, oh yeah, red tag girl doesn't speak. She doesn't even have a name, and since I recognize the actress, I already know who's going to live to the end credits. Then back to family breakfast time, making chocolatey pancakes that are very cute and very lens flary. Luke is awoken in the back of the van by Mystery Girl freaking out. And this is where we're first told about red centers, that she comes from one that was raided. And this scene has such bad sound quality that even with it turned up, I had to turn on the subtitles to understand what they were saying. Luke learns for the first time that it's the fertile women being rounded up, and that this one is a lone survivor, implying the Guardians shot the women rather than let them be freed. This makes no sense. If the women are taken, they can be taken back. Once they're dead, that's one less fertile woman in Gilead. Like with current-day politics, this is the fundamental problem. Or, rather, the fundamentalist problem. Gilead was supposedly formed to fight a humanity-threatening crisis of infertility. But that's a lot lower on the list than they want to admit. First and foremost, this society is about control. It's about controlling women and suppressing women, and controlling everyone else as well, but mostly women. This makes a lot of sense, as it seems to be based on an extremely conservative religious base and extremely conservative ideas and ideologies. But rather than being about promoting fertility, it's about controlling sex. Or, rather, eliminating it. Except for Jezebel's, of course, because enjoying sex and having sex because you want to, that's bad for women, but it's just fine for the men. We cut back to the past where someone else comes upon them at the cabin, and this can only be bad.
Wait. Hey. Sorry about that. He's friendly. Come here. Hey.
Then we immediately cut back to present, and this is half my bitch about this episode. In a show that loves long, sustained shots and even longer scenes, this episode has ADD. Luke is still being an idiot as he tries to get out of the van, even though he can barely move and is about to pass out from blood loss and shock. Fearless leader tells him to sit his ass down, so he does. Then we're back to the cabin where Luke is now showing June how to load and hold the gun. The guy who spotted them at the lake earlier comes in and she holds the gun on him. He says, "Don't shoot me, I'm a friend. The other guy is dead, but people are looking for you." He says he can get them out, and with seemingly no other options, they trust him. The survivor bus makes it to the dock where they're going to meet up with a boat, but Luke is still not seeing the writing on the wall and still plans to go back.
Our dock is a half-mile downriver. If you change your mind.
They are all rather stupid at this point as they park in the open and unload the bus and stand around in broad daylight for apparently several hours and more than a half-mile from the dock they're going to. Fearless leader takes Luke aside to show him what's really going on, that a local group tried to hide the fertile women, and this is what happened.
There's one of these in every town. This is what they do to people who fight back.
She lays it out. Stay here, you're gonna die. Come with us, you can hook up with the US government in exile in Canada. They're your best chance, Luke. Just to waste more time, the guy driving the boat is a dick, so he shakes Luke down for some drugs in his wedding band. But the end credits are nearing and the body count isn't nearly high enough. Yep, only Luke and recognizable actress make it out. Could not possibly have seen that coming. We now get the only parts of this episode that are necessary. It's 3 years later, and we see Luke and Mystery Girl. We learn she spends most of her time indoors, and she still doesn't speak. We won't see her again for the rest of the season, sadly. I love this. Take a minute to just appreciate and respect how much time and effort went into this set. Hundreds of pictures, drawings, letters. Hours upon hours setting it up, and this is so true to real life. This would completely happen in this situation. This has happened in other situations. It's beautiful and heart-wrenching, and it's one of the few very good moments of this episode. Seems Luke is a little confused on why he's here, because he starts telling them where he thinks they should look for the women, mostly in high schools, and he's right, of course. But that's not why he's here. No, we finally get something that matters, as he's given the note. And we're told it's been 3 weeks since June wrote it.
I love you. So much. Save Hannah.
And that's the only shot of present-day June in the entire episode, because it's over. I am sorry, but even with a whole episode of his own, Luke comes off as useless to the overall story. In this version, he lives. Fine. That's their right as an adaptation. So do something with him! The one place where they are seriously questionable in this series is the decision to keep Luke alive. For no reason. He contributes nothing to the overall first season, and even if I'm very generous with the attempt to set him up to be somehow relevant for season 2, this episode is still a waste. It burns me that in a 10-hour series that already had so much to fit in, they wasted 10% of their time on this. The only parts of this episode we actually needed to see were the 3 years later Little America caption and Luke meeting at the embassy and getting the note. Leave it a cold mystery how he got there or what's happened in between. That would have been much more effective and engaging. Then, if you must show his side, do it in season 2. Take all of these individual scenes of his journey and have them just randomly pop up throughout episodes in season 2. No context, no comment, just random have one of these scenes of Luke. And then at the end of season 2, yes, I'm putting the character on hold for a long time, but stay with me. At the end of season 2, reveal that this has been Luke narrating his story to either Mystery Girl or Moira. I think that would have been really effective, as we would have slowly seen what happened to him, how did he get away, what's he been doing in the last 3 years. We would see more of Mystery Girl. And it would mirror the way the book has the jumping around timeline, but having this contained info dump all in one episode is just such a waste when none of it really contributes to anything else in the show. This would have made a lot more sense to me in terms of revealing his narrative and having a reason to keep the character around. This one-man show act just didn't work. Made me laugh. Okay, all my usual go-tos are gone in this episode, so it's very limited options. The Made Me Laugh award goes to Hannah for her goal to set a record by eating pancakes every day. You go, girl, for Mystery Girl. Whatever she's been through, she's still alive and kicking. Good for her. Nitpick. Making you watch an entire episode of stuff that doesn't connect to the show I've been watching up till now, and that goes nowhere by the end of the season. Ironic feminist, it's a wash. I looked hard, but there's just no good candidates this week. Dick of the episode goes to the boat driver that shakes Luke down. I mean, there's being a dick, and then there's this. But, for better or worse, that is episode 7, The Other Side of the Hulu series, The Handmaid's Tale, and I am InsaneLayne. Blessed be, bitches. Bye-bye.